The Mitre 10 Cup is nearly here. And yes, the Mitre 10 Cup is our favourite rugby competition here on New Zealand Sports Radio. And that's why we have been getting round all of the different provinces, having a chat with the coaches, talking about their squads, seeing how their club competition's been working out, and asking them, what does success look like? Hi, I'm Paul. I'll be your host this evening. And I have the absolute pleasure of having head coach Mark Ozich from the Hawke's Bay Magpies. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Thanks, Paul. How are you?
I'm not bad. Not bad. I've managed to make a major faux pas earlier today by calling the county's Manukau head coach the assistant coach during the intro. But luckily for you, I've got it right this time. So, phew. There we go.
No problem. You're a busy man.
Yes,
yeah,
trying to get
it'll be hard to get around everybody, and fit everyone in. So, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to get 11. Two provinces haven't replied and one said no, but I won't name names here on the show. But 11 have been good. Now for you guys, obviously we've had a shortened club competition. But how important has that club competition been for you guys and putting together your Mitre 10 Cup squad?
Very important, really. With COVID, a lot of our pre-season games and our wider training group, we weren't able to go out and get fixtures. So we relied pretty heavily on the club competition to sort out contracting and form and whatnot. So it's pretty important to stay in touch with all our players and see how people are tracking, considering there's no real rep program to speak of.
And looking there at the top, the HRS Auto Super Shop Hastings have topped with TRSC, but I mean, neither of those teams went through undefeated. It looks like you had a pretty competitive club competition down there in Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, I think it was. I think if you go all the way down to Central Hawke's Bay, MAC, Havelock, Clive, they all on their particular days challenged other teams and created upsets along the way. So some of those teams had a number of injuries which impacted them, particularly at club footy. Sometimes you only have a good 18 players, if you know what I mean. And so when you get a couple of injuries, sort of the form can slump. So HRS had a really good squad, and so did Taradale. And to be fair, Old Boys Marist and Tech, probably on the back of the depth of their club squads, did pretty well.
Yeah, and we've heard stories of coaches getting roped in and having to pull on the boots to make up numbers, especially when there's you probably didn't have it down there, but up in Northland, players getting caught up in Auckland and not being able to get out to games, and the whole lockdown has caused issues, and also people losing their jobs and then having to work funny hours and therefore taking any job they can, and therefore missing out on clubs competition. So it's been a real struggle for the clubs, but well done to them all for putting together a season.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So off back up, we've heard that from Manawatu 2, I think it was Manawatu 2, they said they had got through like 50 players in last year or so. But that does mean that you are going to be going, even though you've named your squad now, there will be still players from outside that squad in that club competition who you're going to have to call on to keep your squads going, aren't you, throughout this Mitre 10 Cup season? Yeah,
most definitely. I think guess the campaign will test the depth of every provincial union, but you certainly get home on squad number 30 to 45 if you've got quality guys in club footy in the province. Certainly helps if you do get a couple of injuries in key positions to be able to go to the well, and if there's players there of good quality, it actually makes a big difference in the wash up of the season for sure.
Yep. And so you've named your squad now, and looking through there, a couple of names that'll be missing that people have seen have been there for quite a while now. They feel like Allardyce and Ty Falcon. So you've definitely got some players who are going to have to step up this season, haven't you? With those experience campaigns gone.
Yeah, I guess a lot of PU's players have moved on to offers offshore. So both Tian and Michael have gone to Japan or signed with clubs in Japan. So they've moved on, but it provides opportunity for somebody else. So I think it's all about looking forward and guys stepping up into those spaces and taking their opportunities.
Now, as we talked earlier in the year when we had that little interview with you guys, you talked about the sort of 6 players you had through that sort of came through from was it Nelson College? Not Nelson College, wrong one.
Hastings Boys.
Hastings Boys, sorry, that's it. Hastings Boys that came through and performed really well last season. Any sort of young names or any new names in the squad from this season that we should be looking out for?
In terms of young, probably Connor McLeod. He's a halfback that is originally from St John's here in Hawke's Bay and studied in Otago. Got a couple of games for Otago last year, and he's back in the Bay. So he's a good halfback prospect. Angelo Tuatavuki, who's a winger outside back, very, very young and but very talented. So he's a guy in there. And those young guys you mentioned from Hastings Boys, they're into their 3rd season now of Mitre 10 Cup. So I guess, the fact that they are young of age, they're not young of experience now. So we'll be looking to lean on them a bit more and expect them to step up into some of those voids that you've mentioned with guys leaving.
So yeah, your Fakatavas, McClutchies, the Tualas, all now considered practically seasoned veterans after one season.
A lot of those guys, Devon Flanders, Keanu Kiridu-Symes, Falau, Danny, they've been in super franchises for the last year or two. And Lincoln's come back from Docomo in Japan. So he had a Japanese season under Marty Banks. So when they come back with a confidence and into your 3rd year, you're starting to get an understanding of what a professional environment looks like. So to be fair, I've been pretty happy and impressed with those younger guys in the early parts of our preseason. So we'll just wait and see how it unfolds, really, for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're allowed to call him Marty Banks. I think he has to be the legend Marty Banks nowadays. But yeah, but also with someone like Ash Dixon, who also do your captain there. Also, we saw down in the Highlanders this year that he's a very good mentor for the younger players, for looking after those players as well. So whilst I joke a bit about them being seasoned veterans, there are some you haven't lost all your experience in there. You've got a good captain who knows how to lead them. You talk about Reckless Stones, but also a player that I'm looking forward to really pushing on is Walker Lurie. Someone that I think has got a massive future and big boy as well in that entrance. So you got a real strong pack, and then also exciting backs there in down there in Hawke's Bay. With this season being later in the year and expecting to have dry weather conditions for the games, do you think we're going to see a faster paced game, more attacking play, or how do you think the Mitre 10 Cup, the style of play might change across the tournament this year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, particularly like for us in the Bay. It won't be uncommon through November, particularly, to have 26 to 28 degrees temperatures. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be interesting to see how it impacts some of the sides, particularly the bigger teams that carry a bit more bulk and physicality and playing 80 minutes. I think the weather will have a bit of an effect in the back end of the season. But yeah, I'm expecting we've got quite a few 2:00 and 4:35 kickoffs. So I think it's really exciting for provincial rugby, and it's always a much better spectacle when you can throw the ball around. And traditionally at 2:00 or 4:35, you get a lot more families and kids to the grounds. So hopefully we'll get good crowds. It'll be sunny, and I think it bodes well for a good Mitre 10 Cup.
Yeah, one of the points that one of the coaches has made is that also you'll have more quality training sessions because all the training sessions pretty much will be dry rather than having some wet slippery ones which don't actually reflect game day in the end. So yeah, but interesting one there about some of the larger packs maybe struggling towards the end of the season, maybe looking at some of the smaller packs trying to move them around the pitch to tire them out.
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly for us, we're not a big side anyway, really. We've got a few big guys there, but I think the heat might help us towards the back end, hopefully, with a bit of luck.
Last season, obviously, you made it to the finals of the championship, just coming up short against Bay of Plenty. So, what does success look like this year for Hawke's Bay? Is it around that result piece, or is it around development of players or interaction with the community? What does success look like?
Well, ultimately, like for me, it's about winning. That's what I'll be judged on, and the team will be judged on, and so winning games is a priority. But I think how we win and how we go about it, or how we lose, but how we win obviously would be ideal. And having an environment where the guys are happy to be in and can contribute, and we get a good buy-in from our players, that'll all contribute to the success and the wash-up of it all. But ultimately, it is semi-professional footy. Even though it's a sprint, it is where we will all be judged on wins and losses, really.
So there we go. It's a couple of coaches have come out and talked about actually being more about connecting with the community than actually their results. Maybe they're maybe their private performance reviews with their CEOs might not go that way. We'll see. One of the things that I've been asking all the coaches, because I think it gives us an idea as to how different coaches look at the game, is what's apart from the scoreboard, what is the one key stat you look at on Monday morning after a game from that your performance analyst produces for you?
Well, there's a few key areas for us, really. The scoreboard is obviously really important, and then the injury list is probably secondary to that. Where we stack up after the game with the guys and their injuries, and touching wood that it's not too bad. But then after that, we get into how we performed through our set piece, so scrum and line out, whether we were able to win ball and what sort of ball there was, and if we were able to pressure them. And then the contact area is another big one. So defensively, around our tackle percentage and our dominant collisions in that space, and then the speed of our ball. And there's a few other areas in there, but essentially those are the key ones for me. And territory and position obviously in there. So there's quite a lot. Stats are interesting because you can manipulate them to, I guess, suit, you know what I mean? So they're not the be all and end all. They're a good guide, but often there's things that happen in a game which can explain some stats, if you know what I mean. So I think it's important to have a broad spectrum of stats to give you an insight into the performance of the team.
That's interesting. One of the first ones you look at though is perhaps a technique one, which is technical one, which is the kind of the set piece and quality of ball you get from that, and then also your speed of ball. Other people talked about more about I guess to me I think the technical seem to, or the sort of professional stats seem to break down into technical ones and effort ones. It's interesting to see which coaches focus more on the technical or focus more on the effort. Obviously, you all look at all of them, but it's just getting that different focus from different clubs, or different provinces. Sorry. So thank you very much for your time and insight into Hawke's Bay. We're getting, as I say, we're trying to get around all of the provinces, folks. So please don't forget to like the New Zealand Sports Radio Facebook page, or if you prefer to listen on the go, and then search for New Zealand Sports Radio on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, your favourite pod catcher. All the best, Mark, for the Magpies this season, and I look forward to catching up with you when you travel up north to where I'm based. Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, Paul.